Don't talk to me. 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 It's the waves of the underground.
Probably not the best song you want to have playing before the show starts. Don't talk to me. I do want you to talk to me.
Welcome to the Tea Party with Marty Abernathy, a show starring a binary trans woman born in the body of a non-binary atheist, trade unionist, equality advocate, and anarcho-syndicalist that self-identifies as an unhinged fear pimp, outrage brigade commander, free speech police officer, SJW, and a bad faith agent of chaos.
All right. Welcome to the show tonight. I'm just getting everything together. It's going to be a kind of odd show tonight. I don't know if I'm going to have anybody call in. We'll see. By the way, be right back. I just forgot something. My phone. So if you do call in, yeah, that's not going to happen. I'll be right back.
Now you're playing with power. Don't talk to me. 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 It's the waves of the underground.
Much better. Let's try that again.
Welcome to the Tea Party with Marty Abernathy, a show by an ultra-feminine, meek, shy, totally unopinionated trans woman that seeks to listen to both sides and does not make fun of TERFs.
No.
You've listened to the show, right? You still want me to say this? Okay. Here's your host, Marty Abernathy.
All right. First, I want to say that you can
make sure to subscribe on YouTube and don't forget to click the bell icon to get notified when we go live.
Also,
you're listening to the Tea Party, part of the Trans FM radio network.
And
We're streaming live on YouTube, Periscope, Twitch, Mixer, and Facebook. You can follow us on Facebook by searching for Tea Party Podcast. That's the letter T followed by Party Podcast, all one word. And on Twitter and Instagram at Marty Abernathy. You can financially support the show by making a one-time donation by going to trance.fm or by becoming a monthly patron at patreon.com/Marty Abernathy. That's MartyAbernathy.
So, what I wanted to talk to you about tonight is not something I wanted to talk to anybody about anytime at all, really. And that's the whole Contrapoints controversy. But I think it's important on a few levels that we do talk about it. I titled this, regardless of if it's Johnny Depp, Tim Poole, or Contrapoints, stans and fans make Breadtube pretty much a worthless loaf. And I think that's pretty true, actually. Oh, I'm dropping frames. Well, I apologize for that. OPS is saying and 0 dropped frames. Oh, it's YouTube. You know what, folks? I'm going to restart everything because I think I know what the problem is, and the only thing that's going to help this is a restart. So I will be back. I promise. Even though I'm going to stop streaming right now. All right. I'm not sure if this is any better. YouTube is telling me that my current resolution is not optimal. So we're just going to go with it for today, and then I'll figure out what's the best for YouTube, which is optimal. So now that we've reset, I'm not going to go through all that again. I do want to talk about something that's been going on Twitter. I'm actually going to go to my Twitter page. Actually, some random geek says my friend is streaming. Woohoo. I had people say tonight that, or this morning actually, I had a bunch of different people come in. They weren't coming into my mentions because I barely get talked to on Twitter. I have a fairly small following, 800 people. And I did follow But I followed a few people, and these things kept popping up, and it was like this story about Breadtube. So I'm gonna put some of those tweets up. If I can get this. Jonathan, you should be my producer. I think I got it figured out now. I got the Roadcaster on this screen. Yeah, Peter Coffin should come with a. In fact, a lot of these people should come with a content warning. Thing is, I'm trying to get to my profile page so I can see my tweets. So basically, I had a stream of people talk about this. I don't have that many followers. I have about 800, and I think a lot of them are from years ago. I've been on Twitter a decade. But it was people kept popping up in my feed talking about this. And so I did a series of tweets about it. I said and content warning, I'm going to talk about Peter Coffin. I'm going to talk about Jeffrey Epstein and Lawrence Krauss and Johnny Depp. So I said Twitter stans / fans are an odd, gross, obsessive bunch. They are culture vultures picking over rancid dramas with no ethical foundation at all, be it Johnny Depp, Tim Poole, or Contrapoints. And that's been my experience dealing with any of these people. You have people that, are referred to as stans, right? Basically obsessive fans. I made a comment in 2016 about a popular atheist, Lawrence Krauss, being gross and misogynistic in respect to Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp had been accused of domestic abuse of his wife, Amber Heard. And Lawrence Krauss came and said, I know Johnny. Johnny's a friend of mine. And this is paraphrasing, but Johnny's a friend of mine. I've never seen him do anything remotely like that. And I was just like, dude, that is gross. Saying that you don't, and it's misogynistic as fuck, because they don't like show you that they're gross like this, that they don't do it in the privacy of their own home with their partner. It's just, it hits too many damn tropes. And that was in 2016, 3 fucking years ago. And it wasn't, I mean, I believe that Depp did do it. And, but that's neither here nor there. It wasn't a comment on his guilt or innocence of Depp, but the fact that Lawrence Krauss was using the fact he'd never seen Johnny Depp act badly as proof that nothing took place. And I said, since then, Krauss has had his own troubles. Namely, I posted Rebecca Watson's tweet where he was buddies with Jeffrey Epstein, and he's been kicked out of where he was teaching. He, quote, retired before he was brought up before their ethics board. And I said, yet these shadows still comment without any sense of irony 3 years later. This one from, and somebody posted a couple of days ago and said, you're gross. Even as if you knew what happened, you're ignorant, daft little asshole. I know it's American because the British person was said arsehole, but, and women can absolutely be, and it cuts off there, but basically he said women can be domestic abusers. And oh my God, what a fuckface. First of all, I've been the victim of domestic violence from a cis woman, so you don't have to tell me. I know. My ex went to jail for it. I said it's just fandom. It's shallow, random, and tiresome. There's no ethical framework or rationality that comes with it. It's not lost on me where Stan comes from, and Stan comes from a song, Eminem song actually. And this fan is obsessive to the point of basically murdering his partner and driving off a bridge. I think that is some random geek said, just like Jeff Goldblum saying in regards to in regards to, and content warning on Woody Allen, there needs to be a presumption of innocence. No, there needs to be a presumption of innocence in jail, in prison, in a court of law, especially that court of law. But there's no presumption of innocence in the public square. We don't have to presume Bill Cosby did what he did until he was found guilty. Sorry. But my point of that, it wasn't even about Johnny Depp's guilt or innocence. it was about Lawrence Krauss's grossness and misogyny. I said it's a part of Twitter and YouTube that I can't stand. It's an economy based little more than aesthetics and reality television. It really is the shallowest end of the pool. It's not even the pool, it's the splash pad. People will say, you're wrong about Contrapoints because I like her. That isn't a very compelling argument, but it's essentially what you get when you dive into these discussions on Twitter or YouTube. Just about any level with any of these people. If you've attacked their saint, then you are evil or don't know what you're talking about. And I posted a link to Peter Coffin where he's talking about clout vampires. The irony. This guy makes his living off of YouTube. He makes his living off of drama. He makes his living off this kind of thing. It's ridiculous. And I said there's a whole Twitter/YouTube economy built on top of this stuff. Literally people grifting a living from commentary on both sides of these dramas. Like they're a kind of self-perpetuating fire that reports on itself. It's one of those things that a person on... I almost left this site. I don't want to leave this site. Sorry, folks. I just logged out of Twitter. But a couple people posted some really pertinent things that came up in my stream after I made that. Captain Andy was the one that really got it for me. He said the underlying principle of anarchism is no hierarchies. Hierarchies are what you're creating when you put your favorite YouTubers on pedestals. When you feel duty bound to defend them against every criticism, you give them power that they shouldn't have. He said that's the beauty of not having your sense of worth and your income directly tied into your popularity. If you're sincere about your views, you shouldn't need to be heaped with praise or money just to have them. If I did something like that and I thought was fairly innocent and lots of people decided to cancel me over that, then I guess my sub count would drop from 3,000 to about 3. Various people would block me, and that my life would continue on as normal. And I find that to be the case. These people are not Jamie J says the one that what Facebook group? Some random geek says no, that group is cool. There is a big group called Breadtube posting Facebook group. Geez, the Contra stands and Vosh stands in that group. The thing is, this is all fandom. It's all fandom. How is this any different than the Kardashians or, why don't we have Team Contra? It's absurd. It's tribalistic. It's just very, very shallow, and it's not leftist at all. You know, you can have Peter out there talking about clout vampires while he's sucking on in the neck of someone bigger than him, literally. Like, I saw that today. Someone posted a screenshot of that. But regardless, if you're talking about chasing clout, the only reason why I wanted to talk about this tonight, I wanted to talk kind of more overall about Breadtube, about YouTube as a leftist platform. I think that's one of the reasons why I kind of want to be on multiple platforms. Because you have all these people that literally, their living is based on whether you're eyeballing. And Jamie J brought up something. Did you see that Peter supports shoe on head now? Yeah, because she's reformed herself now, apparently. You know, and here's the thing. There are people that do reform. I think Dusty is one of them. But Dusty has done a lot, and I as somebody that's a leftist, I would. It's kind of like when someone cheats on you. First off, the big thing is, have they changed their behaviors? B, will I ever trust them the same as I did before? No. But those things can be fixed a lot of the time. But it's not the same. It won't ever be the same. But that's just it. People can change, but have their behaviors changed. You know? And I get it. A lot of these guys, I've even heard Christiosity spoke about it. She said that there was a party at Mythicist. I can't even talk tonight. Mythicist Milwaukee, and it's a shitlord conference, is what it is. And basically, they had a bunch of different people that some were shitlords and other ones were leftist people. And they quote partied together. And Christiosity really had a problem with that. And she said she kind of kept to herself and that whole thing. And I'm like, these are like people on two sides of an argument, and at the end of the day, it just reminds me of Sam and the coyote, the sheepdog, going out and hitting the clocking out, and they don't think about these things as being like real life impacting things. You know, it's just a topic to them. It's just a side. It's just their grift. Well, and that's the thing, Jonathan said. I feel like Dusty is genuine in his reform. He's done things to show that. It isn't just, you know, it isn't Kevin Logan going out and saying, Dusty's reformed. You should approve of him now. You know, which is essentially what Peter's done. But again, and Peter is supporting Contra as well. And it's understandable. This is their job. This is their money maker is YouTube. So I mean, I feel like I don't know if YouTube can be the place exclusively for leftists. Now somebody in some of the comments suggested this other site, and I went to it. And you know who the number one person is on this alternative YouTube? Take one guess. Tommy Robinson. It's absurd. I'm like, there's no way in hell you're going to get me to a website where Tommy Robinson is the person that your whole foundation is set upon. I think I would rather have Debbie Hayton or some other trans turfs on a platform with me than I would Tommy Robinson. I do feel like, and I'm kind of conflicted in a way, because the big platforms, it's like Twitter. You do have an alternative right now that is 100% better than Twitter. You can go toot. There's a federated Twitter-like program out there called Mastodon, and no one uses it. It's brilliant, and it filters a lot of these people out. But very few people use it. So it's an echo chamber, but it's like this. It's more like an echo closet. So, you know, I even when I was using it, I was always cross-posting over to the bird site. So I think that there has to be, at some point, there has to be a crossover and where we build our movement up on these platforms that are not with these horrendous companies, because ultimately that is, I don't think you're ever going to get away with having people like Natalie, or honestly like Buck, Angel, on platforms like that, not get an audience, because it is a marketplace that's based on it's a capitalist marketplace, and they're there to sell ads to people. Some random geek says, I forgot to use Mastodon. Yeah, I love it. And people like PZ Myers uses it a lot, which I love him for. And that's the thing on this show. I want to talk about a lot of different things. I want to talk about atheism at times. I want to talk about trans rights, politics, but this is one of those topics that I think cuts across that. From the, you have literally a quote leftist platform where the people that get raised up they're raised up through capitalist means. And I'm not sure how that's to move our movement forward. I don't think that that's going to be the vehicle that does it. So when it comes to Johnny Depp, literally there are people out there that every day they go search the name Johnny Depp and they find this post from 3 fucking years ago and they have to comment saying how he's not guilty. They don't know him from anything. They don't know his life. They don't know his dark secrets. They don't know his innermost thoughts. They've seen his movies and like him. Contrapoints is no different. People don't know, and you only know as much as somebody shows you. That's the thing about the internet. Some random geek in YouTube chat says leftists on YouTube are in enemy territory. But these folks are literally making their living. This is an economy. It's a leftist, but I think it's a faux leftist economy. Because the people it elevates are people like Peter, people like Contrapoints. You know, I could go along the line. The people that are lifted up are not the people that I believe that are going to make the kind of change that we need. Desperately need. You're just going to get more very shallow controversy, very shallow discourse, and it's very tiresome. It's just tiresome. My lights just went out. That's all right. We can just turn this up in here, okay? That's a good thing about having your own lights. Oh, I just turned them off. Now I'm just waiting on it to adjust, but that's the thing. That's what I keep going back to. Jamie J says, I always say, if you try to make your anti-capitalist activism your day job, you're only going to limit yourself. I always had a issue with people being leaders in the trans community, getting paid on a non-profit basis for the same reason. There were certain activists that went into places when I lived back in the States. I'll give you an example. There's a certain national organization that went in and tried to get less rights for trans people because it would be easier for them to win to get a bill through. They wanted to leave out public accommodations in Maryland. And the people of Maryland said, you know what? No. They had a vote on it and they said, no, you're not going to leave it out. And they had to set aside HB 235. And they came back a couple sessions later and they passed a trans-inclusive, fully inclusive anti-discrimination bill that included public accommodations. You get people that when their job is to continue to do these the jobs that are essentially cheerleading jobs where you go in and pretend like you've won a victory when there have been people on the ground that have been doing the work for years. You know, that's why I've always had a problem with making your activism your job. And as I've become more and more of a leftist and an anarchist and grown as a person, I've found that trying to use a capitalist platform to take itself down, I mean, on a certain level, it'll probably do that anyways at some point, but I don't think that this is going to end well for us if we think that YouTube is or Twitter is a place where we're going to change things, where we're going to win, where we're going to organize. You know? Anyways, if anybody has any comments, you can call.
Make sure to subscribe on YouTube and
Actually, that was subscribe. You can call.
you can call the show in the US toll free at 866-727-9070 and in the UK toll free 808-189-0928.
You can call at this point in the show. That's pretty much all I have to say. I literally think that things won't change unless we actually have a plan to get off these platforms that are basically using us to sell product, essentially. We are the product. As long as we are the product, I think that there isn't going to be, not much of a revolution going to happen. But that's pretty much all I have to say. If you guys want to call in, you can. The number is on the screen, actually. I'm going to bring the music back up. If you guys want to call in, you can. If not, what do we got? In about 10 minutes, I'll end the show. If you have any comments, and actually, too, if you don't want to call in and you want to comment, you can use the hashtag TransPartyPodcast.
If you just want for
Hello.
Hello.
Is this Jonathan?
Yes, this is your almost de facto producer of your show.
Thank you for that. I for those that don't know, OBS is a platform that a lot of broadcasters use, And I put together that screenshot, and what I didn't do is put the soundboard on it. So when I clicked over to it, there was no sound. So thank you for doing that. So what do you think about this topic? And what are your thoughts on it as far as using YouTube as a leftist space?
I mean, it's kind of weird how, because in some ways there's like a use for it, because I literally did became more. I honestly did became a feminist, a socialist, and an anarchist because of it. However, I think it is just like only like one part of the solution, or like is not the whole solution. I think that's the best way to say it, because like, yeah, we can convert some people, but it should, the actual like efforts and work should be like on the ground and local, because like, as Tip O'Neill said, the local is political.
Well, and I think it's kind of like trans rights in a way. The most change you're going to have is at the local level. It is going to be the people that you love, the people that you care about, the people that are in your direct circle, that you talk to and that know you and that kind of connect with you. Those are the people that you have the most impact on. I do think that I kept thinking of when you said that it kind of brought you in as kind of like a feeder for but I mean, I don't know, Jonathan. I kind of think I struggle because so many of the people that have platforms are building the platforms based on nothing other than their own audience on different platforms, and not really on any kind of solid leftist grounding. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do think you're like right about that, because it's like, I mean, I'll be honest though, like there was like a part of me that also wants to be like a leftist YouTuber, a Breadtuber, and like make all these like videos about like anarchist theories, make anarchist content. But then it's kind of like, wait a minute, I need to really like brush up on all of that in order to like do that. And I have to like admit, it's kind of like maybe part of me is like want to be an actor or want to be a performer. So which is why part of me still kind of like looks up to, not necessarily like Contra or like or Peter for sure, but like other Breadtubers that are not as bad, or other like actual anarchist YouTubers. So I guess it's just like I have to, if I am serious about like anarchism, I feel like I do need to like go out in the world and do the best. And don't
you think anarchism is about removing hierarchies rather than, because I think there are still going to be actors, you know, I think there are still going to be performers and YouTubers and all these different things. I have a problem because it's not a surprise that the pretty binary people are the ones that are at the top of the trans hill on YouTube.
There certainly is that, yes.
You know, there are plenty of us that are not binary in our presentation. And those people aren't climbing the ladder as quickly or as easily. I just tend to think, and I wonder, I mean, I think YouTube can be one part of a Jamie said in the chat that there's a platform that she's on, and I want to look at those things, but I always go back to Mastodon because everybody loves it, but nobody uses it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it is not hierarchical at all. If you want to talk about anarchism in action, that is it. You know, there are very few hierarchies on Mastodon. You know, it's a pretty flat platform when it comes to that. But you know, I don't have a lot of answers. I just have a lot of questions. And
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day, I think people that are are asking the right questions and making the right statements when it comes to holding people to account. Something else that also has kind of played on me as well. In 2012, RuPaul basically was trying to tell people it was okay to say the tranny word. And he doesn't really have a place to say anything. By the way, Leto is in the chat. Hello, Leto.
Hi, Leto.
RuPaul has no place to say anything about anything trans.
Mm-hmm.
He has self-identified as a gay man. You know, that's his thing, and he is a performer. And Charles RuPaul is a gay man, a self-identified gay man. He has no place to be talking about what words are okay in the trans community.
Yeah.
And Leto said RuPaul's an asshole.
Yes, Leto. No, RuPaul's an asshole.
I don't think anybody is going to disagree with that. But my point was, I inserted some words. One was the N-word on Twitter. And I didn't say the N-word. I actually spelled it out, which was a mistake. And I wouldn't say it was canceled, but Black Twitter did come after me. And rightly so, because what I did was racist. It wasn't from a place. It was from a place of ignorance. But that doesn't matter. It was still racist. White people have got to get over this thing of being when they overturn some racism in their own self and think that, oh my God, I'm the most horrible person. If you live in a society that is racist and you're white, some of that is going to impact you. But the answer isn't to say to Black Twitter, I could say that wasn't racist. I'm not a racist. Forget you. I'm going off Twitter. That's the equivalent.
You don't know how much of a good ally I've been to like black people. I know several black people in my real life. How dare you come after me?
Exactly, Jonathan. Exactly. And you know what I did? My feelings were really hurt. I'll be honest with you. They were really hurt. But I stepped back and I assessed and listened to what they said. That's the thing. I wouldn't know because I don't support Contra anymore. So I can't get her exclusive. on Patreon. But from that pace bin, it looks pretty damning when you're talking about somebody that says they don't know what they're going to do because of what people will say about them anyways. You should do the right thing.
Mm.
You should do the right thing whether or not it's... You should do the right thing because it's the right thing, not because of how many viewers you're going to lose or gain or how many subscribers, how many, again, this comes down to a grift, and it's obvious what you should do. Apologize and be a better fucking person at the end of the day. But
that's it's just like how I said before. I didn't become an anarchist so I can get a lot of friends. I can get friends in other ways, but I'm an anarchist because I believe that is a right path forward as for a society, but also as a kind of a mental framework of how to view the world. It's not the only way I view the world 100% of the time, but it's one of the predominant ones how I view the world. Is there a hierarchy there? If there's a justifiable hierarchy, and if it's not justifiable hierarchy or explosive one, can't we dismantle it? And don't worry, Little. I understand that you didn't recognize me because it's like a call-in radio station. So there's a kind of 2 layers of or 3 layers of my voice being muffled.
And this is voice over IP as well, so it's masking Jonathan's awesomeness and the fact that you can't see the awesome leggings or hat that I'm sure he's wearing.
I'm wearing awesome socks too, the Sailor Moon socks.
Of that, I have no doubt, Jonathan. Something I really think about a lot is how we get from one point to the next. Right now, we have a president of the United States that's awful, as a rapist and a white nationalist. And all across the world, you have people that are gaining power that have pretty dubious pasts or histories. Here in the UK, we have a prime minister that referred to Muslim women as looking like letterboxes, and has said some pretty racist stuff about black people in the past. And he was even fired for plagiarism, yet he still has a place on the stage. And I just wonder how we get from where we are now, which is a pretty horrid place, to where we want to be. But I don't think Peter Coffin's going to bring the revolution.
No, I don't think Cheater Often is going to be the forward vanguard of the revolution either. And yes, Jimmy J, unfortunately, Donald Trump is a bad person. I don't know who you listen to that says otherwise, but yes, Donald Trump is a bad person. But of course, I know you're of course joking, and it's a sarcasm, people.
What?
You are fake news.
I appreciate you calling in, Jonathan, and I appreciate you guys listening to the show. I think that the more we talk about this, the more I don't want to talk about Contrapoints a lot because because there's part of me that feels like a hypocrite by even bringing this topic up because I'm being a clout vampire. But for me, this was an overall topic more than just about Contrapoints. It's about the platform itself. It's about YouTube itself being something that exists to build these hierarchy, capitalist hierarchies that don't fit in a revolution, you know. I doubt we're gonna have the guillotines live streamed. That was for you, Leto.
Yes, the guillotines are for everyone.
The guillotines will not be televised. Oh dear. Peter, Jamie J says in the chat, Peter isn't going to bring the revolution. Vosh is.
But what kind of revolution is Voss leading? Because I know what he has said about like the critics of Contrapoints. I'm wondering if he's gonna like have a revolution against those people as well.
You know what? I was listening to this podcast yesterday. It's called, you may have heard of it. It's called, what is it called? Social Justice Chemistry? No.
Chemistry?
No. Social Justice Alchemy.
Oh yeah, I was on there. I think there's some great, awesome people that's on Social Justice Alchemy, including an asshole in John Brockman.
But I think it was Leto that said she didn't know who Vosh was and she didn't want to know, or maybe it was Jamie. I forget which. But I secretly I have kept myself away from some of these people, and Vosh is one of. Is he the sexist dude? No. Isn't he the one that said everyone says the N-word? Was that the guy? Was that Vosh?
Vosh is the one who he's the gender abolitionist that seems to like explain to like trans people about like gender, and he will be like, man, oh, my critics always seem to be like trans people, and then says some like awful things about them. Sometimes it feels on Twitter, and sometimes it's just on his Discord, and it's just like, oh. And sometimes he rants about this on the stream too.
Well, you know, something that Kristen Williams brought up on Trans Advocate, she has a great picture of, it's basically asking TERF questions. When they say they're gender abolitionist, what does that actually mean? Do you want to get rid of sex segregated spaces? Nope, we want to keep those. Do you want to get rid of gendered clothing? Nope, we want to keep those too. And goes through these different questions, and it's like, at the end of the day, your only gender abolitionist position is abolition is basically getting rid of trans people.
Mm-hmm.
It's an anti-trans position more than it is gender abolition.
It's just like race color blindness. I'm not a racist. I don't see color. Those are just like, that's the colorless police officer is just like beating up that other colorless person.
Yeah, I when it comes down to it, people that are in my experience, people that are gender abolitionists want to get rid of trans people. They don't want to get rid of gender. They don't. And, you know, I was thinking the other day too, how many people and this is even if you're very promiscuous, you're a sex worker or you're an adult performer, adult film performer. Those two I want to just strip out of this what I'm about to say. For most people that aren't sex workers or adult film stars, how many people have seen their genitals? It's usually under 100. For a lot of people, it's under 20, including doctors, including people that at the gym or whatever. It's under 100 people. Most of the time, people don't inspect your genitals to make an assumption about what sex you are. And so it's not sex. When somebody there's this big thing about procreation with trans people. We don't have a uterus, so we can't know what it's like to bleed or have babies or at the end of the day, though, we are targeted for sexual harassment, for sexual assault. And if a trans woman is pretty binary and has this privilege, if they're preoperative, they can be. Typically, what happens is when somebody finds out that they're trans, they're murdered.
Yep.
Or assaulted. And so, I mean, when it comes to gender, these gender abolitionists, what they're trying to get rid of isn't gender, it's trans people.
Mm-hmm. Now listen on the YouTube chat. Nowadays, I can't even see my genitals. Hashtag fat belly with a smiley face emoji.
Only you would go there, love. Only you would go there. That is hilarious. This is why we love Leto. She's so meek and mild and unassuming and I've ran out of bullshit things to say about Leto.
That seems like it, and I don't have anything more to add, but I think we had a good run of the show, and it was a good discussion about most things, and I enjoyed talking to you as always. And I'm actually at work right now, just coming. I'm getting paid overtime.
Are you stealing right now?
What?
Are you stealing back wage theft surplus?
Until my manager says something to me and says that maybe I should stop, then okay. But it's not only am I normally behind a closed door that people have to ring the doorbell for me to let them in, and I'm on Sunday even more. I'm going to use this computer until someone tells me not to or asks me to stop for whatever it is I'm doing. So long as I am getting the work done that I need to in timely fashion, or until maybe HR complains to my manager about the overtime I've been taking, I'm going to continue to steal back my time from the capitalist. Yes, communism on capitalist time. That's Jimmy J said in the chat.
All right, Jonathan. Well, I thank you for using this show as a vehicle to extract wealth back from your employer.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Take care, Marty, and goodbye, comrades, potential comrades in the chat. Love to everyone. And it's time to end the party with Morty.
The party's over. Oh my God. I just thought I'm going to have to find a song basically that says the party's over, and I can end with that. Anyways, have a good night.
This is why I'm such a great producer. So, because I just come up with it and give you an idea.
Yeah, that's right. You inspire me, Jonathan. Mostly to guillotine landlords, but I mean, there are other things you inspire me to.
Well, it's a good thing I'm doing something at least.
That's right. Jonathan, thank you for coming on the show. I appreciate it. And I hope you call back soon. Just not tonight. Take care, my friend.
Sure.
Solidarity.
All right. Solidarity. Later.
That was Jonathan from somewhere in the Midwest, I believe. Is he in the Midwest? No, he's in the West, Northwest. Oh. By the way, I'm going back to the States in a couple weeks. So from around the 26th of November to the 2nd, there will not be any broadcasts of the Tea Party. Because I'm going to be in the States. Getting my Thanksgiving on. Yeah, Leto, we don't want to have a song about depression at the end of the show. I'm sure. I'm going to try to lighten things up at the end of the show. But I thank you guys for coming. This is a good point to end at. I am going to play some music afterwards. But thank you for coming. I appreciate everything that you guys do. If you could help me out, some of you have become patrons. Awesome. Thank you. But you can help by just sharing the show like Jonathan did. Patreon. By the way, where are we at?
Make sure to subscribe on YouTube and don't forget to click the bell icon to get notified when we go live.
Yeah, that's right. But just share the shit out of this. And because basically what I want to do is I want to make this a little community that we can come to and talk about things like this, talk about how we're going to make change. We're going to make change in a way that is substantial and real, and form community that is real and is impactful. So anyways, y'all have a good night. I will talk to you soon.
You're listening to The Tea Party, part of the Trans FM radio network. You're listening to the audio podcast version of The Tea Party. You can watch the video broadcast on Facebook, Periscope, Mixer, Twitch, and YouTube. You can find links in the show notes.
I just got the board automatically records the show, which is good. I can put it up in podcast form. So, yeah, that's it. Try to share the shit out of this, and thank you for all that you do, and I will talk to you soon.
You've got to get a hold of yourself.
Now you're playing with power. Don't talk to me! 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 It's the ways of the underground. Don't talk to me! Now you're playing with power. Don't talk to me! 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 It's the ways of the underground. Don't talk to me! Jack Detective!
We're streaming live on YouTube, Periscope, Twitch, Mixer, and Facebook. You can follow us on Facebook by searching for Tea Party Podcast. That's the letter T followed by Party Podcast, all one word. And on Twitter and Instagram at Marty Abernathy. You can financially support the show by making a one-time donation by going to trance.fm or by becoming a monthly patron at patreon.com/Marty Abernathy. That's MartyAbernathy. You're listening to the Tea Party, part of the Trans FM radio network.
That's it. Gonna stop streaming now. Bye bye.